Hi creatives, Dimma here. Greetings from my end, and I've come with another beautiful sewing tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how I made this bustier dress with a yoke. It's a very lovely one. It actually looks simple, but it's quite stylish and trendy. If this sounds like what you'd be interested in, then you have to stick around till the end. This is the cloth on the dress form, and you can see that it also has a turtleneck. The turtleneck I will treat in the next tutorial. Okay, so to make this dress, the first thing is to get your pattern paper ready and also your fabric ready. I will just keep the fabric aside. With 3 yards, if you're around size 10, this is very possible. Then if it's about size 8, you may even make this lovely dress with just 2 yards plus or 2.5 yards. Okay, now the first thing I did was to just rule a line, a horizontal line across the beginning of my paper, just a starting point. Then I marked the neck, basic neck, 3 by 3. You can use 3.5 by 3.5 if you're making the clothes for a plus size. Okay, now I used my armhole curve to just get the neckline like so. Then here I'm marking the shoulder measurement 16 divided by 2, that is 8, and that is what I just marked and ruled a vertical line, and that is my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. Okay, I just had to blend it to the neckline. Here is the across chest at level 5. Okay, I marked my across chest. Here I'm marking my bust line, and I ruled a vertical line, bust measurement divided by 4. And the next thing is just the half length, right? Half length here is 17.5. Feel free to impute your front half length. Okay, for this is a front pattern. Now, having done that, I just ruled a horizontal line across. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is just to use the shoulder, the across chest, and then the bust measurement to draw my armhole. Okay, if you are a bit confused about what I'm doing here, I'll be linking up in the description box the making of a torso and the basic bodice block. Okay, right now I am done with the armhole drawing, and yes, this is what I have. I will just go ahead with the rest of the pattern making. I'm just trying to make it brighter with my marker because I have a feeling that the pencil is not that bright. Okay, that is all I did here. Now that is the armhole measurements. Now I just mark my bust point and bust to bust. Okay, and then the bust to bust here, and I took 1/2 inch on both sides of the bust to bust on the waistline. Okay, I dropped the bust point by 1, and I'm just ensuring that it's also at the bust to bust point. Okay, I just connected the 1/2 inch on both sides of the mark I made on the waist and connected it to the 1 inch below the bust. Here is the on the bust, and I marked 1/4 inch this way. I'm connecting to the waistline, and here is 3/4, which I connected to the waistline as well. I connected this to the bust point just as you can see me do. Okay, now having done that, yes, we are almost getting done with this. I had to draw the side bust. Now I drew a line like so, and I took 1 inch on both sides of this line. That is how I took this side bust out. You can also take 2 inches down at once. Whichever way you choose, it's fine. Now, this is how to draw it to the bust point where I shaded will be going off at the end of this pattern making, right? So now I'm just taking the yoke level. I think I took about 4 inches. Feel free to do a yoke design that you prefer, right? I just took the measurement there to ensure the bust will not be exposed. Okay, now that is my yoke level. If you like, you can turn it like so and draw your yoke, but I decided to do mine like so. Feel free to take the shape of yoke that you prefer. All right, now this is what I have. The next thing to do is to measure the waistline. Measure the waistline and connect like this to the side. Your waistline should be the waist plus the dart measurement. Here I just took a point there and marked ½ inch on both sides of the point, and I'm taking from ½ inch there to the bust point, and the next ½ inch I took to the bust point. And that is it. That is just the easiest way to make your bustier. And yes, where I'm shading will be going off at the end of this tutorial. I just took this to the shoulder line and took this also to the shoulder line, just like you're making a dart. And where I shaded will also be going off. And then after that, the next thing to do is to make my back pattern. Here I took 3 by 1. I took 3 by half rather, yeah. 3 by half, and I'm taking my shoulder measurement here and another shoulder measurement, and I'll be connecting like so with a vertical line. Now the next thing is to just mark the across back, and I took the measurements of the across back. Here is the shoulder slope, which is also 1 inch, and I'm connecting to the neckline just as I did for the front pattern. Okay, now I'm measuring the bust measurement divided by 4, and that is the measurements I just took, and you have to draw it like so. And then this is the back half length, okay, which is about 2 inches less than the front, and that is what I just marked. Okay, and I'll be drawing it like so. As I said, I will link up in the description box how to make this basic pattern so that you will know the reason why I did everything I did in this pattern making and the measurements. Here I just took 3/4 back tightening, and I am just going ahead to draw the armhole for the back. That is armhole measurement divided by 2. Okay, if you have 18 as armhole measurement, divided by 2 is 9, and that is what I used for this armhole drawing. And yeah, that is it. Having done that, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and connect the back tightening. I just use that tape level to make a point, not to be higher than where the armhole ended. Okay, now here is the waist measurement. Observe that I took that waist measurement plus that intake from the tightening. Okay, I took it from the tightening, not from the center back where the pattern began. Here I'm just cutting out the patterns, and yeah, this is what I have, the front and the back pattern. I'll go ahead and cut out the yoke. Watch closely to see what I did. I cut out the yoke and also had to trim every other part of the pattern appropriately to make the bustier pattern. Okay, now this is how to close the dart for the yoke. You just close it up like this, and yes, this is what we have. And here you will see what I'm going to do. I will just go ahead and patch up that point, and I will also use my tape to stick it down like so. Now after doing that, I'm going to blend that point. I'm going to blend it just like so. That is how you're going to do yours, and you get exactly what you can see me get. Now I had to cut through, and then I'm closing this dart just like this. I will also use my masking tape to tape it down. Now this is how to make your bustier pattern, and yes, you will get the perfect fit that you desire for this dress. Now this is the front pattern with the yoke, so lovely, and here is the back pattern. Okay, now I'll keep this aside and go ahead and unravel my fabric and start cutting it out on fabric. Guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell to be the first to know each time I upload my videos. You will not regret subscribing to this channel, I can assure you of that. Now in my next tutorial, I'll show you how I made the turtleneck. Okay, I've made a turtleneck not so long ago, but it's not all in one turtleneck. That one has a demarcation, but this one is all in one turtleneck, and Yes, you may be able to figure it out from the last tutorial of tutu neck, but then not minding that, I'm going to upload how I made the tutu neck in my next tutorial. I don't want this tutorial to be too lengthy. That's why I'm not joining everything here. All right. So here I'm just cutting out the pattern just like so. I'll cut it out and then I will be marking the notches for the underbust and the rest and the seam allowances. Here is the bust point on the bust and the seam allowances, and I will go ahead and notch it with my scissors just as you can see me do. This is to make stitching very easy and to make the landmarks to match appropriately, right? Now this is how to do that, and then I'll go ahead and cut the back side of the pattern. Now this is the back. I'm just pinning it down to keep it steady, and I will go ahead and check the marking that I'm doing there. I just took 1/2 inch there and I'm drawing just as you can see me do. Take yours like that. And I just wanted to have an opening at the back. The opening you saw at the beginning of this tutorial, yes, that is what I want to have there. And this is how I'm going to cut it out. The 1/2 inch at the beginning is for my button loop. Watch closely to see what I'm doing aside what I am saying. Do this and you get exactly the perfect fit that you need for a bustier dress. Okay, now this is what I have, and I will go ahead and cut the neckline just like so, and then cut every other part of this pattern, and of course put my notches where appropriate. Now that's the zip allowance and the seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going ahead to notch where necessary, and yes, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and just mark the reverse side of the wrong side of the fabric so that it will not be an issue knowing where the front and the back of the fabric is, because this fabric is a bit confusing. So that is just it. So right here I have my pattern ready, and I'll go ahead to cut my yoke. I used a chantilly lace to more like cut the yoke of this dress. This is chantilly lace, and I'll go ahead and keep it on fold like so and place the yoke and then cut it out. I ended up cutting the yoke, 2 pieces of the yoke, right? I used double of the chantilly for the yoke just to give it a little bit of more strength around the yoke area. You can still use single layer if you prefer that. It doesn't matter, all right? So, but I just decided to make my double layer. So now this is what I have. You can see that I've applied the hairstay and the wording on this. Watch closely to see how I applied it and the interfacing I put around the neckline of the lining. See the hairstay I applied for the back, and yes, this is the other side of the back with hairstay also applied. And see how I did the interfacing on this. That interfacing at this back is the tissue paper stay. You can use the gum stay. It's just to give strength. Okay, there. Now this is the side front for the lining and for the fabric. You can see how the wording is, and yes, this is my complete pattern for the fabric and for the lining. That is the front pattern. You can see the wording and everything and how it is applied. Now this is me cutting the next layer of the chantilly to make it double, right? Now this is an afterthought. I felt okay, to double it would be nice, so why not? I had to go ahead and cut a second layer for the chantilly. So now this is how you're going to fold it and then place it and cut out. Always fold your chantilly in a way that horizontally it stretches more. The less stretchier direction should be vertical so that it doesn't distort the half length of your cloth. if you understand what I mean. So now this is how I'm going to place it on top of each other and then continue with my sewing. I will just go ahead and start coupling all this together. Guys, if you're enjoying this tutorial, do not hesitate to put a thumbs up, hit the like button. It costs nothing, okay? That way I know that you are enjoying the tutorial. Okay, so here, this is how I am going to be stitching it. Okay, that's why I structured this, so that everything will just be perfect and well structured. It will give strength to that opening, keyhole opening at the back. Now I've stitched it. Watch closely to see what I did. I just, had to notch it like so, and I will be top stitching towards the lining. See how I'm pushing it, the excess towards the lining, and I will top stitch all round. I'll do the same thing for the second side of the back, and yes, this is what I have after stitching it down and ironing it. Now this is what I'll be using for the button loop. You can see the measurements I have there, just as shown, and I will go ahead and fold it like so and stitch it down to form my loop. Feel free to use the measurements of the button that you'll be using for your own. I did this based on the button that I will be using. I just took a measurement comfortable for the button that will not be too tight or too loose for the button I will be using, right? So now this is how I'm going to place it and stitch it down. Okay, I'll stitch it down like so. Now here I've stitched it down. I'll just trim off any excess there, and I will fold it in like this. Okay, so I'll be folding it like this to stitch it down so that everything will be inside. I will also fold this one over and stitch it down because this side will be carrying the button while the other side is the loop. Yes, this is what I have at the end, and this is the button I'll be putting. You can see how it is matching very, very nicely. Yes. So now you can just take the measurements of your button to know how wide your loop can be, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so this is what I have for the back. I will go ahead and start for the front pattern. Okay, now this is the front, and I have joined the bustier, part of this front pattern. I've joined for the fabric and also for the lining, and you can see the chantilly. I've also joined it together. Okay, I've joined the chantilly together. I'll just go ahead and notch the middle of this chantilly and also notch the middle of the bustier part of this dress. And yes, this is what I have. I will just go ahead and place the chantilly like so and stitch it down. You can pin it down all through to make it very easy for you to stitch down. And after that, I will be putting the lining on top. I will also notch the middle of the lining so that everything will line up or rhyme very well. Okay, now after stitching it down, this is what I have, and I will go ahead and notch like so. I'll notch it all through and also top stitch just as usual. The top stitch helps the cloth to just lay flat and smooth and neat. Yes, now this is what I do. I will just top stitch, and yes, after ironing, this is what I have. Beautiful. This is so lovely. You can see the curve. You can take your own straight or in the convex of what I cut here. I mean between the yoke and the bustier part of this dress. Okay, now this is how I'm going to join the front and the back. Watch closely to see what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to join the shoulder. Observe that the neckline is still unstitched at the stage. The neckline is still unstitched for the back. Okay, and I have joined this. This is to make it easy to join the yoke to the back pattern. And yes, this is what I have at the stage. You can see the lining is still detached from the main fabric. Okay, Now the next thing is the skirt pattern. If you want to know how to draft the skirt pattern, I'm going to link it up as well at the in the description box so that you can look at it. Okay, now this is to help make the pattern, you know, quite to make the video not so long. Now this is the back part of the skirt. I've shown the front part. It has the full lined part just like the front part I just showed now, and this is the shorter lining. You'll be seeing how I'll be using this. Okay, I will use one more like an interlining and use the shorter one as the main lining. I just want to give strength to the main fabric, so I have this full lining for it, and I will then use the shorter one to like more like use it as the main lining. Watch closely, you'll understand. So this is the lining. You know, I have the full part and I also have the shorter part. Now this one I'll be bonding it together with the fabric, and I'll be using it as a single like the fabric. I'll bond the longer lining with the main fabric and it will serve as the main fabric. Okay, so now I'm notching the middle of this. Watch closely to see what I did. I've notched the middle of this very dress, and I will be notching the middle of the skirt as well. Okay, I've notched it already. Watch closely to see how I'm going to match it. I just want to get a dart that is straight up with the bustier line. Now this is how I matched it up, and I drew out the bustier. Okay, now from this point that I marked, that is the chalk, that is where I'm going to be taking my dart from. This way the dart will rhyme exactly with what I have. See, I took 1 inch on both sides of this line. I'll just pinch it at the middle, and you know, it's more like 1/2 inch dart, and stitch it down. This way it will rhyme perfectly with the line of the bustier. I hope you understand. And yes, you can see how it is rhyming, and I will fold it over like this and stitch it down. I am stitching it to the main fabric. The lining is separate. I mean the upper part of the lining is separate. See what I have here? You can see that the lining is separate. I just joined the skirt to the main fabric. You see what I mean? This is how I put it together. The lining is still separate. This lining will be carrying the shorter part of the skirt. I hope you understand. This is just to give it more strength. Okay, now this is what I have. I'll be joining the shorter part of the lining. After stitching the dart for the skirt, I will join it to the lining part. And that is what I just did. Trust me, I know you have not seen a dress coupled this way. This is what you do when you want your fabric to have a little bit of strength more than it has already. Okay, now this is the back. I've already stitched it down just the way I did for the front. I bonded it together and used it as a single fabric, and I'm joining the shorter lining to the lining part of the back bodice, and I am also using the fabric to the fabric of the skirt. Now this is what I have. I hope you understand. Aside what I'm saying, just watch closely and you will understand every bit of what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and just, you know, fix my zipper. Now this is how I'm going to stitch the zipper to the fabric and then turn it up with the lining. But before I fix the zipper, I'm going to close up the downside. I'm going to take the measurements of where I want the zipper to start from. At least 8 inches from the waistline is fine, or you can take 8.5. Okay, from that 8.5 you're going to stitch down to where you want the slit to start. I hope you understand, for the skirt, the back skirt. So now I'm going to stitch down here and end it where I want my slit to start. So feel free to take your, you know, accurate measurements based on what you desire. Now I've done that and you can see the zipper opening. I'll go ahead and fix the zipper now. I'll first stitch it to the fabric. Okay, I mean to the main dress before I turn it up with the lining. Now this is how I'm going to place it. Stitching it on the zipper allowance, and then I'll be turning over with the lining like so. Here I fixed the zipper, as you can see. I've fixed it up and this is what I have. You can see everything still separate. I'm going to close up lining to lining and fabric to fabric. So right now this is the dress. I've closed up the sides for both the lining and for the fabric. You can see how beautiful the inside is looking. It's looking beautiful and lovely, neat. You can see how it is looking. I'll just go ahead and serge every part of it that needs to be serged. Yes, this is what I have, and I will go ahead and turn it over so that you see. This is the bustier dress, complete and beautiful. Yes, if you enjoyed this tutorial, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on your notification bell to be the first to know each time I upload my lovely videos. Love you guys, and of course I'll see you in my next one. Bye.